So we are back with another video. It's been a while. In today's video, we're pretty much going to be covering where the agency space is going in 2025. And I've actually got a special guest today because I'm bringing on Will, who I've actually recently just partnered up with. So as you can see, Will's in the background working, but I'm about to bring him on. We're going to film a very, very special video because we want to give you some raw content. You know, a lot of these gurus nowadays, you know, they give you the fluff and they give you all of this, saying obviously the agency space is amazing. However, going into 2025 is certainly very different to how it used to be, especially when I started my agency back in 2018. So if anyone watching, if you're looking to get started in the agency space, or maybe you're running an agency and you're struggling to sign clients, this will be a very valuable video for you today because we just want to give you an insight. You know, we want to be raw, we want to be as transparent as possible. So I'm going to get Will in the video now. Let me set the camera up. Will, are you all done with your work? Do you want to? No worries, let me set up the camera. So yes, it's going to be a very raw video. I'm going to take a seat and we're going to get Will in the video as well. So I'm going to give Will a little intro. Give me a second. So this is Will, first time on the channel. And do you want to give yourself a little introduction?
Yeah, so my name's Will. We've recently partnered up on Agency Booster, but I've been in the agency space now for about 7 years. Worked in an agency beforehand, doing print advertising, did marketing at uni as well. So yeah, I've been in the space quite a long time. Through the early kind of stages, I got to work with some cool brands like Sky, Santander, Bosch, and yeah, nowadays we kind of help everyone out. Started out with my own agency in the info product space, moved into e-commerce, now we work with lead gen, really from spends of like 50 quid a day all the way up to, well, recently 100,000 a day. So yeah, huge diverse range of clients as well.
For sure, for sure. So that's Will. Will's, well, you're 33 years of age now, aren't you? Been in the game a long time, and to be honest, well, it's coming up to, for me, it's coming up to 8 years, and you've been in the agency space for, well, around the same time, really.
Around the same time, yeah.
So yeah, we both, you know, together we've got around 16 years experience in the marketing space, you know, growing our agencies, and we kind of just want to make a raw video just talking about, you know, where the agency space is going in 2025, because I notice it a lot at the moment. You know, you get a lot of these gurus, these marketers online nowadays that, you know, talk about, you know, making money quickly with the agency space, getting 10K a month within 60 days. And to be honest, a lot of it's, I don't think is very, you know, a lot of these guys aren't being very transparent, are they? Like, it's, let's be real, the agency space is very different, and it's a lot harder nowadays to sign clients and maintain clients. And to be honest, I think both of us, we've had clients to date. I've maintained clients for 5 years plus. You've pretty much been in the same position.
Yeah, so we've had clients for a very long time. That's always been kind of our advantage, I guess, in the agency space. We've been very good at retaining clients, delivering a really awesome service. And a lot of, like my own agency, a lot of the way that we grew that was off the back of referrals as well. Make one client happy, they've got a friend who's a business owner. But yeah, the space has changed massively. Like back in the day, you'd talk to a client, you'd say, let's jump on Zoom. They wouldn't know what Zoom is. Now we've been through a pandemic, everyone knows what Zoom is. But even the calls back then, you'd have to explain, okay, Facebook ads, it's like it's a new exciting opportunity. Nowadays, particularly if you're in like the e-com space and you've got a brand that's going to say 10 grand a month, the business owner knows what they're talking about. So you coming in there, having watched a few videos and say Facebook ads and trying to almost say that you can deliver a better service is just unlikely. So it's definitely got a lot harder in that sense. I'll say we've obviously been in the game for quite a long time, which of course helps, like just literally day in, day out running ads. But yeah, you've got to be a little bit more savvy. I guess if you're going after sort of local businesses, they're going to be less kind of in that loop. But yeah, certainly with some of the e-com guys, people who've already got an established brand, you are going to find it that bit harder to stand out.
Yeah. One thing I also want to talk about, which I think is really important for a lot of the guys watching, you know, especially if they're just getting started, is, you know, when we first started, I know myself, I specialised just in paid ads, and to this day, you know, that's pretty much what we specialise in. However, that being said, I think going into 2025 nowadays, you know, a lot of people talk about being a growth partner, being sort of, you know, coming in and being able to provide as many services as possible, and really just being a team, you know, kind of being an asset to the company. So I think this is really important to talk about because a lot of guys, you know, they come into the agency space thinking, I've got to niche down, got to provide one service. However, I think going into 2025, if you're just getting started, you really need to be able to build a team, but also understand the services. This is a problem I see across kind of the scope in the agency space, which is, you know, just outsource everything from the beginning. You know, Will and I, we know service delivery. All right, we're back in business. SD card ran out of storage, just had to do a quick swap round. But as I was saying, we were sort of talking about, you know, service delivery, and I think it's really important nowadays not to just provide one service and also not just outsource from the beginning. You know, Will and I, we've been in the game for a while when it comes to paid advertising. the problem is a lot of these gurus that obviously teach you these courses, and to be honest, a lot of them probably haven't really touched an ad account in years, and that's the problem with the agency space. A lot of these guys teaching you and preaching you on the idea of building your agency to 10K a month, they haven't sort of been in the game for a while, and that's why, you know, Will and I think it's generally really important when you're first starting out to actually understand service delivery. You know, it's great building a team, but that being said, especially at the beginning, you know, you're going to be talking to business owners who understand Facebook ads better than you do. You're going to be talking to business owners who understand keywords better than you do. So I think that's really important. Do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, it's insane the amount of times that I've seen these gurus say stuff like, yeah, just, you know, sign a client, outsource the work from the get-go. Like, if you don't understand Facebook ads and you don't know what makes a good result, you're 100% reliant. Even if you find like an awesome media buyer, you're completely reliant on that person. So like, if they go for a family emergency or something like that, like, yeah, you're stuffed. But also, yeah, I do think it's important. You're talking to a client, you're trying to
it's just like
say to them,
at the end of the month when you're talking to your clients,
yeah,
if you don't understand
justify the results,
delivery,
yeah,
you're going to be screwed.
And equally, obviously, that understanding service delivery helps with strategy, because often, you know, you're not going to have week after week where everything's good and, you know, you've got this constant kind of account where it's growing all the time. Yes, it's beautiful when that does happen, but more than likely, you know, you're going to have some weeks when it drops off. And then what's really important is you go back to the client and say, well, look, we tried this, it didn't work. This is what we're going to try next. If you don't understand the ads in the first place, you don't understand what was good and what was bad, how are you ever going to do that? So, yeah, I just think it's, people try and make it sound too easy. That's why they go down that route. Just sign a client, outsource the work. Signing the client's hard enough, delivering the work's even harder. And even if you sign the client and you've got that kind of attitude, at the end of the day, you're probably not going to retain him for very long.
Yeah, and that just, you know, it really does bring me onto the point. As if you are watching this video now and you're generally interested in building a marketing agency, you know, you've seen all the glam online, you know, people traveling the world, growing their agencies. Look, you got to understand, when I started my agency back in 2018, I generally could probably send a DM to a business owner and say, look, have you heard of Facebook ads? I can obviously manage your Facebook ads for you, manage your Google ads, and a lot of people back then, oh, this sounds interesting. You know, they don't really understand it. Nowadays, you pitch anyone Facebook ads, probably they've done it in-house already themselves, or probably they've worked with 3 agencies already. They understand it way better than you do. So
it's interesting. I spoke to a client this week, and there's a thing that goes around in the guru space, which is if you're emailing and you're doing email outreach, use the subject line quick question and then the business owner's name. I asked the client to do this on a call, and in the last 6 months, 8,400 emails have been sent by other agencies, all just using ChatGPT, no personalization, and using the same subject line. So it's very competitive. It's like Matty was saying, it's going to be very different to just reaching out to someone they don't understand the opportunity. There's a lot of competition out there, so standing out is getting harder and harder.
Yeah, and that, you know, Will doesn't want to say that to scare you, but that being said, it just shows, you know, there's a lot of copy-paste agencies out there, and what I mean by a copy-paste agency is simply literally following suit on what some gurus told you on YouTube or some gurus told you on a course. And that's why you need to be unique. You know, you need to have your own methods. But that being said, it's very, very easy to get clients when you actually want to build a sustainable agency, you know, authentic agency, an agency that really cares about their clients. It's very, very easy to get clients in that sense if you're not just following suit as to every other agency. So I think that's important to bring out, because I don't want to scare anyone watching the channel thinking, oh God, it's impossible to sign clients nowadays. It's very, very possible. You just really need to go about it in the right way. And that's why personalization, having the right systems, having all of that in place, that's really going to help you grow. Now, talking about niching down and talking about service delivery, because a lot of you are probably watching this thinking, okay, great, what niche should I go into? And also, what services should I be providing in 2025? You know, again, the e-com space, when you're first getting started, let's be honest, it's, you know, an industry that's very, very hard to get yourself into. You've been in it a while, Will. I've been in the e-com space for a while now. And let's be real, if you're just getting started, e-com space, you need to have that experience. And that's why I say to people, you generally need to understand service delivery before you get into it. And also local businesses, Will was saying, a lot of these local businesses, they probably don't know it to the extent as to an e-com business owner does.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it probably is a lot easier for you to get into the local business space. Not saying it's impossible to get into the e-com space at the beginning, but you just need to have the right guidance and the right, you know, probably the right mentor, the right, obviously following the right guides, and just actually understanding service delivery a bit more than if you want to dive straight into it in the local space. Now, talking about niching down, because you got local, you got e-com, a lot of the guys, they go down the route of just choosing one niche. You know, they say, okay, great, some guru on YouTube has told me solar is the local space to be in right now. I generally believe it's very important to actually be sort of open-minded at the beginning. I've never once niched down. Like, I literally over the last 7 years of building my agency, never worked in one industry. I quite like that because obviously I love marketing and I love sort of the difference between the markets. I love working with a new brand and having a new challenge to deal with. And again, sometimes you get strategies that works in one industry and you get to implement that into another industry. So I think that's really important. And when you're starting out, if you just, I see it all the time. I'm in a lot of these groups and courses over the years, and I see it with individuals where they decide to niche down into solar. 6 months go by, they've done outreach, they don't get anywhere, and think the business model is not for them. So a lot of you watching this now, just understand you don't need to have one niche. When you're first starting out, obviously it's great to build the cash flow, but it's really important to also build that experience. Is there anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, well, even if you do decide to go into a niche, like I say, I started in info products. I wouldn't recommend it. If you speak to anyone in the space, it's probably the hardest niche just because there's so many variables outside of your control. Obviously, you can give someone a decent webinar template, but at the end of the day, if they're not charismatic enough, for example, you're going to struggle to convert even if your ads are amazing. So there's so many little aspects of something like that. But what I would say, the reason why something like lead gen is good, you can then branch into other niches and stuff afterwards once you've got you're a bit savvy in the ad account, and it's going to be the one where you're most likely to get the result without the understanding that you'd have to have in something like e-com as well, which is obviously going to be really important. We're niching down and say it's not set in stone. I started out in the info product space, which is notoriously hard. There's so many variables outside of your control. It's like the ads are a very small part of a very big picture. You've got the webinar. If someone's not coming across charismatic, for example, you're going to struggle to get the sales. But equally, of course, if they do come across and that side's really good, the ads could be mediocre, if you like, because all the sales could kind of done on the back end. But yeah, like I say, there's a lot of variables outside of that. But the reason I kind of bring that up is we've gone from info products into e-commerce, lead generation. We've then done things like, I worked in solar for quite a while. We kind of rebranded the agency for a good 6 months. It was very much solar focused, just so that we came across as like a solar specific agency. Which you can just do, by the way. You can just create another landing page, have it so you are one of these. A lot of brands will prefer to niche down, if you're going after roofing and you're like the roofing specialist agency, that's a good way of doing it. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, it's not set in stone. If you do pick a niche, which Matty's saying, as he said, right, you don't have to do, you can then chop and change if you want to as well.
Definitely very important. Now, I kind of want to move on to another topic because a lot of you watching this, going into 2025, you're thinking about starting an agency, or maybe you've already started one and you're kind of struggling to get clients on board. I remember when I first started out, there was a lot of these, gurus telling me, okay, you can sign clients, you don't need a website, you don't need social media presence, you generally don't need anything. You can hit them up on a cold call, you can hit them up somewhere and somehow sign the client. I think, especially in 2025, look, you need to have the basics. You need to have a website. You need to have an Instagram profile. This is something that I've personally been very good at, which is sort of building a personal brand, building up my content on social media. Will, he's got, I think, a great website, and he's obviously got social proof, and that's what's been able to help him grow his agency. He's never really gone down the social, branding side. He's never really gone into personal branding, but it just shows you can still run a successful agency. You don't have to necessarily get yourself behind a camera and start talking to the camera and building that personal brand. You can still clearly grow an agency, having a website and doing email outreach, whatever Will was focusing on. But in 2025, I believe it's necessary to have that website and to have some sort of social presence, whether it's building up your agency account on Instagram, on Facebook, building out a personal sort of business account. I think it's necessary, and I see it all the time. A lot of guys try to do this, but they go about it in the complete wrong way. Like I see a lot of profiles, I get hit up all the time on my Instagram and my requests, and it's someone reaching out to me promising me 20k sales or 15k new subscribers to my YouTube channel within the next 60 days. And I look at their account, they've got one post and they've got 5 followers. Look, it happens far too often. It's like, look, you need to have some sort of structure. You need to spend some time on it before you even start outreach. Look, before you even start sending 100 DMs a day, whatever it is, you've got to build that social presence. You've got to build some sort of accounts and foundations around you. And I just think it's generally important before you start outreach. And this is something that all these gurus, at the beginning in 2018, they were telling you, you can sign clients without a website. I've had a few guys actually hit me up and they said, no, I don't think I need a website. I don't need an Instagram account. I can do cold calls. Look, business owners you're dealing with nowadays, they want to know they're working with an agency that can be trusted. They want to know they're working with someone that generally has results and someone that clearly, has some sort of foundation around their agency. I'm telling you now, you can talk to business owners who are going to ask you, are you even registered as a company? You know, if you don't have a website, look, you're not going to get anywhere. Is there anything you want to add on to that?
No, it's 100. I mean, it's funny you say it because, and I mean, that's a good reason why we've obviously partnered as well. I very much like being behind the scenes. So if you look at my Instagram, I don't even think I've got 100 followers at the minute. I barely use socials. Outreach has never really been my gig. It's not the part of the business I've enjoyed. I've always enjoyed just delivering the top service. Matty is very good at the outreach side as well, which obviously makes sense. And that's what I mean. Like when you first start out, you're going to be wearing just about every hat. But there might be an area of the business that you prefer. Maybe that is sales, maybe that's outreach, maybe that's something else. You can then kind of go into that, and if you want to partner with someone else and get in, either partner with someone else so they're doing that, or build a team who can then obviously handle that as well. It doesn't mean you've kind of got to do everything forever, but certainly at the start you are very much going to be in the trenches, probably doing a little bit of everything, and having that social presence is going to be that much more effective. Like if I was reaching out on my Instagram, business owners are going to come to my page. I haven't got that authority, that social proof, just because I'm barely posting on it. Yes, if they go through to the website, amazing. Are they going to go through to that? You don't know. So you're better off giving yourself every advantage by posting decent content, showing that you know what you're talking about, and just building up a decent following and stuff on there as well.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with Will on that. So yeah, I don't want this video to go on for too long. You know, we want to provide quick value on this channel. You know, we don't want our videos to be over 20 minutes long. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed it. It was hopefully very insightful for a lot of agency owners that are getting started, people that are sort of early into their journey. And listen, Will and I, we are going to be looking to post once a week. You know, we're literally, Will and I was working, he was getting some work done for his clients, and I just chose a topic and decided we would jump on behind the camera. You know, we don't script these videos, we don't need to plan for them. We've been in the space long enough just to provide knowledge and be able to drop a video like this, and that's what we're looking to do on a weekly basis. Now look, if you are an agency owner, we have created a little community together. It is called Agency Booster, and this is kind of why we partnered up, because, you know, I've been in the space long enough now. Will's a very, very experienced. He's not only running his own agency, he's even been a media buyer for some of the top UK agencies out there. So like I'm talking some of the largest agencies, and that's why we're looking to provide as much value as we can. Too many of these gurus, you know, they really don't even actively run an agency nowadays, and that's why we're doing this on the side. We've come out with a little community called Agency Booster. So if you just below this video, there will be a link to our community. We've built a little school community where we're going to be providing value in there. You know, there's tons of videos on outreach, on systems, on actually learning service delivery. So that will be all below this video. And again, you know, if you are looking to finally just scale your agency, click that link, you know, get yourself enrolled, and we look forward to seeing you now. And again, if you aren't in a position to start investing yourself, we do have a lot of value on my Instagram profile, so you can connect with me on Instagram as well. That will be linked below. And we look forward to seeing you next one. How did you find your first video, Will?
It was all right. It was all right, yeah.
Yeah. Man of few words. So we look forward to seeing you in the next video. And please, as always, subscribe to the channel. Any videos you want us to make, drop a comment below and we will get on it. So I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.